This is Steve from Boxing UK in association with Supreme CBD. Dave Coldwell, Dan Toward's just put a wrong to right there, hasn't he?
Yeah, first step, along the way. That was a lot of demons, a lot of pressure that, especially that he puts on himself. A lot of fighters that are taking a fight against a soft opponent away from home, under the light, in the shadows, so to speak. But he didn't. He chose to box in his hometown against a kid with a winning record that we know is tough, never been stopped. So that's a great performance. I'm happy with him. Like I said, a lot of demons there and a lot of pressure. You could see that. I could see that in his performance. But he when he relaxed up, it was outstanding. And the last 3 rounds or so, the last 4 rounds. Well, every round was good, but the last 3-4 rounds it was very good.
I was talking to Dan there, and I said the last time we spoke was in the changing rooms at the Walker Dome. There was you, there was Sam, there was Dan, and we were talking about big things for the future in the Northeast, and then that setback. How important would established figures like you and Sam be to a young lad putting that wrong to right?
We will help as much as we can. We love him to bits, both of us. Sam cares a lot about him, so do I. So we'll do whatever we can to help him. He's the nicest guy in the world, and he's the most talented guy around. He's just got to enjoy the process and understand that it is a process. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to be a case of like you have to blast everybody out in a round or so, and just it's a long process. Boxing is very, very hard, and a lot of fighters when they have that stumble, put pressure on themselves to try and get back there ASAP. However long it takes. He's had an outbreak. He's had a very disappointing night. But other than that one shot that finished it, he boxed really, really well.
He's winning the fight.
He boxed really, really well. So again, it was just that one issue, one mistake, and it's boxing, and it can happen to anybody, and it has happened to a lot of great fighters. But it's how you come back. But again, it takes time to come back and to get yourself. No need to rush yourself straight back in, because sometimes fighters rush themselves straight back in, and then you weren't quite ready, and then the wheels come off again. You got to understand it's all part of the process, and that's what we'll do with that. We're not in a rush. He's a baby. He's 22, 23. So yeah, it's got back to time.
We were saying that there's been some pretty good fighters who've taken an early loss and come back to great things. I think one retired this week. Not that I'm putting them on that level, but a loss isn't the end of the world, is it? Despite what fans will say.
No, but that's just it. It's the noise of certain fans, the noise of certain people around that believe that once he got beaten, then that's it. Well, but if you look at UFC, it's another combat sport. Their best fighters have all got losses, and there's loads of fighters that have been champions in that. They've got loads of losses. In boxing, there's champions that have had losses. In boxing, there's champions that have had knockouts, losses, and come back. It takes a lot of that, and that is part of boxing and part of being elite at whatever you do. In football, in tennis, in whatever sport you want to pick, nobody just goes like that. Mayweather never got beat. Ooh. But I bet he had his arse kicked in sparring, had tough times before, and he had fights where some people do think he got beat. So he's not everything. What I'm saying is not everything's plain sailing. There are things and stumbles that you have to get over, and Dan's no different to anybody else.
Well, I've got you, Dave. Can I talk about a couple of things around boxing? Talking about somebody bouncing back from defeat. Great to see a character like Dave Allen having a resurgence, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, because listen, he's a prime example. Look at what he's fought. Look at the losses he's had. Hey, mate. Look at the losses that he's had. But he's come back, and at the end of the day, right now, how that crest of the wave that he's on, does anybody really care that he got beat X amount of times prior, and he's had a couple of disappointing performances? But no, because you're as good as your last fight. That's how people judge you. And right now, it's fine.
Deontay Wilder next. He's been citing, Dave. Your thoughts on that one?
Well, it's not Deontay Wilder that we know and we feared. Do you know what I mean? It's a different version. So you don't know. I mean, Deontay's last couple of fights doesn't look like he can pull the trigger, and when he does pull the trigger, there doesn't seem to be any weight on anything that he's throwing. So that version of Deontay Wilder, you would say, oh, why not? The peak Deontay Wilder, you would say, no. but that peak hadn't been around for a long, long time. So I understand why they're talking about that. If that's where the money, I know he's had a long career, and probably it's the finances he's looking at. And if that's where the money is, then roll the dice. There you go. But also, on a boxing point of view, I would like to see him win the British title.
Well said. Talking about the heavyweight division, Dave, got Fabio Wardley tomorrow. We had Moses Atama a couple of weeks ago. We've got Usyk Dubois too. Your thoughts on all of those in a couple of minutes?
Fabio Wardley, I think, beats Justice Honey. Could be interesting. No, not interesting. People just see, or some people just see Fabio as a banger. But I think he's, number one, he's an athlete. You look at the first Fraser Clark fight, look at the pace that he went, with the athleticism that he showed, with the power that he kept up all the way through to the end. That's a fit guy, that's an athlete. He has got a boxing IQ, he can box, but he can really, really punch. Honey, I know, has got the Olympic and amateur background pedigree, which will probably mean that he'll make it a good competitive fight, maybe early doors. But it depends on how well he takes Fabio's bombs. Yeah. Because if he gets bombed early, it might change that way of thinking. Everybody's really, really confident, and everybody can be, really up for a fight. And then when you get hit really, really hard in the head, it can change that mentality straight away. And I think I saw him at the weigh-in today. I saw a clip, and it looked like he'd been on a beach somewhere for God knows how long. That somebody, it wasn't my phone. Somebody showed it, and if the riot in me and them saying that was him.
Yeah, I have seen it. Yeah.
Well, he looked completely out of shape, and it's like, nah.
We've talked about Moses Atama and a few of the younger ones. We haven't mentioned Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. Do you think there's a limited amount of time for that, Dave? Because people are starting to move on to the next generation, aren't they?
Yeah, they have. But that fight will always have intrigue. A bit like Mayweather and Pacquiao, a bit like Kell against Khan. You'd rather see it than it never happened. Yeah. But you've got to think that it's been spoken about that often. There's been that many false dawns. Now it's a case of the same as what I was with Kell and Khan, where I'm not interested in speaking about it until it's done. When it's announced and then I'm going to don't get me wrong, then I'll get excited and I'll be like, can't wait to see this fight. But until it's done, I've got no interest in speaking about it. There's too many good fighters knocking about now that I'd rather speak about.
Well said. We're going to see you tomorrow, Dave, in South Yorkshire. Pretty decent card. Am I right in thinking you played football there not long ago?
Yeah, on Sunday.
You see, I did my research.
Yeah, played at Coldwell 3 days after I played at the Emirates. Right. So yeah, did 90 minutes at Coldwell, 60 minutes at Emirates. 2 weeks before that, 90 minutes at Mansfield. Not bad for someone that's 50 in about a month.
Good lad.
So yeah, I love it. I love football, but I've not played for 7-8 years, and then I've just started cramming these games in, and I think I'm like 15 again. Yeah.
I did self-cram an opportunity for your lad to show that he's better than you.
Oh, he is. 100% he's better than me. 100%. Thank God. He's just better than me at everything.
A couple of decent names on the card tomorrow. You've got Callum Simpson headlining. We've got Adam Azim.
I've got to say, these European title fights, when they're done right, this for me is like a throwback to. I grew up with like Bomber Graham and Johnny Nelson fighting for European titles. In those days, they'd be fighting these foreign fighters, Germans, Italians, French, and you wouldn't know who they are, but they'd be good European level fighters. That test before fighters go to world level, and I like how Callum's going through the levels, and he's at European level, and get a couple of fights at this sort of level, and then you push on. He's not talking about fighting for world titles yet. I like how he's saying, give me another year. I want to get some experience at this level. The opponent he's got. He's a good European test because he's very crude, but he throws a lot of punches. He's got heavy hands. He's got a lot of ambition. I know his promoters really well, Kirches. They don't come over. The dad's over as well,
right?
Not just Christian. So when they're both over, he's one of their serious fighters. So it's a good fight. It's a good fight.
I have to ask you while you're here, Dave. Ben Shalom said yesterday in an interview that it's the end of the road regarding Boxer and Sky. Do you know anything?
No, I thought he said it's the end of this cycle of the deal. So I'm not, I don't know anything about it. I don't know if it's renewed or anything, but I'm sure that he actually said, he worded it, it's the end of the cycle. Right. So whether he's bluffing and he ain't got it, and he's just, stringing it on a little bit longer, and he knows something we don't. But he said the end of the cycle. He didn't say it's the end of our relationship with Sky. We've had a great relationship. It's the end. He said we've had a great relationship with Sky, and this is the end of our current cycle. So whether that means it's continuing, I don't know. As long as there's boxing on Sky, I think we need it on Sky because it is a big platform. It's on Sky Sports News. They've done brilliant. I've been in boxing 35 years, and I remember when Sky was launched. They've been in it for about 30 years, I think it is. So I think we need DAZN, fantastic. Channel 5, fantastic. We need Sky as well.
Totally agree, Dave. Last one just for you. When are you next in the corner?
Tomorrow night, Ellis Price, Barnsley, Callum Simpson on the card.
Anyone think we hadn't thought about that beforehand, would we, Dave? Dave Coldwell, great to catch up with you, mate. See you tomorrow.
Cheers.